All right, we're here at MDI High School, and as part of our series of Meet the MDI Teacher, and I'm joined by Matt Umphrey, who one of the teachers that I know and have known probably now, I think, going on 8 years from doing all the basketball games, and you are the JV basketball coach, and then I guess tell everybody what your official title is here.
Well, my official title is I teach health, physical education, and adapted physical education here at the high school.
And I mean, you're, I guess, Bunky's right-hand man in terms of when he's not here, you're generally...
Yeah, I guess I'm his assistant, I guess. Yeah, when he's not here,
which is often now, given his world awards that he's won and stuff.
Yeah, he's involved with quite a few things at the state level and getting national awards. So he does leave quite a bit. So I do get asked to help out when he leaves, which I'm comfortable doing. And you know, he always leaves things in good shape when I do need to help. So it's good.
All right. So you've been here how long?
This is my 10th year here at MDI.
And you were saying prior to being here, you were...
I was at Sumner Memorial High School for 9 years before that.
So it's kind of weird to think that you've been here longer than you've been at Sumner.
Yeah, it was kind of at the end of last year that it kind of dawned on me that I had been at both places the same amount of time. But, you know, people have always told me that as you get older, time goes by faster. So my first 9 years compared to my second 9 just seemed totally different. And, you know, I loved my time at Sumner. I just adored it. It was actually hard to come here. I almost didn't. I had to really, when they offered me the job here, it was hard to leave Sumner because I really did love that job.
Yeah.
But, you know, I weighed what I needed to do and came, so.
And, you know, now I got to tease you a little bit about your clothes because I had teased you, I had messaged you last week and saying to your wife that, you know, all right, we're going to do this interview, so make sure you lay something out nice for you. And someone said, well, green goes with everything. Of course, today being St. Patrick's Day, you're right in here, but you got swishy pants on.
I got my swishy pants. Yeah, it's funny because my wife... She's always on me because everything I own is green, which is funny because
my wife says the same thing. And teaching at Nokomis, it's like, you know, I have to wear the maroon when I go to Ellsworth, and obviously I've taken major grief when Ellsworth plays MDI that I've now started to wear blue.
Yeah. I mean, when, you know, I'm coming from Caribou where everything I owned was maroon, which we don't wear here.
No, right.
And then at Sumner, I had all blue. And then I came here, and I got the job. And I remember it might have been during the teacher workshops. I went to Mr. Dow and said, do you have any polo shirts I can buy or anything? And he said, why? And I said, well, I just want some MDI stuff. I'll pay for some stuff. And he brought me in, and he said, well, you know, whatever. And I said, look, either I buy some stuff or you're going to see a lot of Sumner because that's all I've got. So he started throwing polo shirts at me, and I left with like 8 shirts, and so that kind of set me off there. So now I've transferred into green, and so it's neat. But my wife will tease me all the time, and she'll say, do you have anything that isn't green that says MDI on it? You know, so we're going out to dinner, and she looks all nice, and I got Trojans, you know, MDI Trojans. So to me, that's looking nice.
Right. No, this is great.
Stylish.
Exactly. So one of the things we're here in the wellness room, and there are all the CPR dummies, and what are their names?
These are
Annie, or
there was a brand that they called Annie, but these are Simulades. I don't think they want to offend anybody.
Oh, okay. So. All right. So they're gender neutral, and they've all got earplugs in them. So I don't know what. Maybe they don't want to listen to us.
They don't want to hear what's going on.
But so tell us. I mean, that's a great thing that you do here is teaching everybody CPR.
Yeah, it's one of the things I'm most proud of is having implemented this into our wellness classes. a while back they were trying to get it passed that through the state that all graduates have CPR, for high school graduation, and it didn't pass. I mean, with money issues,
right.
and a lot of schools wouldn't be able to afford it. But I looked at it and said, well, maybe we can. So we worked with Holly, our nurse, and we got a grant, and we got some of the equipment. And through our budgeting, we've been able to keep stuff updated. Right now, kids have to take 2 wellness classes.
Through their course of the 4 years.
Yep. So they take one either their freshman or sophomore year, and one their junior or senior year. They're 9-week classes. And in that 9 weeks, at some point, we take a week and we just do CPR training. We do adult, child, and infant through the American Heart Association. We're all instructor certified. Mark, Desiree, Holly, and I are all. So we teach our classes. We help each other out. And the kids get a CPR card. And they get, in theory, they have that twice throughout their high school career. And then when they leave, they have a card.
I mean, what a great service for the community. I mean, we were talking, and that you were saying that the majority of times that CPR is performed, it's done on a family member.
Yeah, I think people don't realize that when they're thinking, oh, I don't want to put my mouth on somebody else. It's like 90% or higher that the person you're going to do CPR on,
Right.
It's more rare that you're going to see somebody on the side of the road or something like that. So it is really important, and it's powerful.
Oh, yeah.
And how many things in high school that you learn that you are as powerful as saving another person.
And I mean, and just to do it in terms of an infant CPR, I mean, this way, if someone wants to go out and do early child care or something like that, they've already got that basics there, and they've got to step up above their peers.
Yeah, and we tell the kids, if they want to work summer camps, lifeguarding, babysitting in the summer, that looks good. They can go in with their CPR card, and the employer doesn't need to put them through that training. They know that they're already prepared. So it's really good for that as well.
And I mean, you've got 12 dummies in here, and I mean, that's just a great service there.
And a couple more.
Exactly, that we're doing this right now. So that's one of the other things of wellness. What are the other things that you do in wellness?
Well, we teach, drugs and alcohol. We teach.
And you and I have gone round and forth on that.
Yep.
In terms of, we're agreement on drugs. We're a little bit different on the alcohol insofar as the age at which kids can drink.
Right. Yeah, and that's an age-old debate.
Yeah. I'm the more lenient one. It's hard to believe. But thinking that if you're 18, that you ought to be able to drink. But you're of the 21.
Yes.
And with lots of evidence to back your off.
I've done a lot of looking at this, and at one time they did drop it to 18, and if you look at some of those statistics, it was horrifying. Yeah. And then. Federally, they made the states. Right. And a lot of people said they kind of held them hostage or whatever. Like, if you don't do this.
You weren't going to get the transportation.
Right. But I think what the federal government was saying, look, this is horrible. It needs to be changed now. Right. Like, you got to do this. And most of the states just did it, because I think they saw the statistics that were, there was fatalities everywhere. And, as far as, and like we talk about it in class, we have like some good debates, because the kids will say that too. And they'll give examples like, well, I can go to war when I'm 18. And I said, that's a very valid point. My argument to that was, maybe you shouldn't be going to war at 18. Right. Let's up that age as well. And that might not be popular, but let's look at it that way as well. But as far as the drinking, if we were to lower it, what's going to happen in that first couple of years? Right. It's going to be wild. And some people would say, yeah, it's going to be a rough go for a year. Well, what if that's my kid?
Oh, yeah.
We look at numbers and statistics and say, that's too bad for those numbers. But if that's your number, that's pretty big. That's everything. So, at what point do you put that? So, I think it's really difficult. I think we've set up our culture to where it is, and Europe's got their own thing, and I think it's hard to just say, well, let's do what they're doing. I think it's kind of hard. So
okay, so drugs and alcohol.
Yep.
There's a little bit of sexuality.
There's a lot.
Okay. God help them if you're teaching it. I mean,
you know, this is one of those topics where, you know, getting out of college at 22, 23 years old, and getting put into a health classroom and say, go for it. And, you know, I've got 18-year-olds in there, and some 19, and talk about that.
Right.
It was awful. It was not good.
I mean, and the thing is that, I mean, Matt and I, we probably spend so much time on the winter together, more so than with our wives. Because we're on the buses all the time with basketball. I mean, I've heard some of the stories about the sexuality, and it's like, thank God they're being taught this.
Yeah. You know, like I said, I went from this being the worst thing ever for me to teach to being my favorite thing.
Right.
I mean, I look forward to that unit, and it's because I'm older. I think I've heard everything that they're going to say, and nothing's going to really faze me, or they're not going to embarrass me anymore. I feel comfortable talking to them. I use a lot of humor.
Yeah.
So I always learn best when I was laughing. When things that I remember throughout my life, it's usually when I was laughing really hard.
Right.
So I can try to take a sensitive topic and find a funny spin without hurting anybody.
Right.
And kind of get them laughing and get them comfortable so that they can feel able to speak.
When you're dealing with those kind of issues, I mean, everybody's like, you know, you got to use proper words, and otherwise it just becomes, I mean, it's scary. Everybody's uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think you got to make sure that you respect, you got to not assume anything.
Right.
And that's what I tell the kids is you can't assume that everybody's like you. You can't assume that everybody has the same feelings, that everybody's the same gender, that everybody likes the same things, or that has had the same experiences,
right,
whether they were wanted or not. So you got to be careful how you talk. You got to think about what you're going to say beforehand, because you can't just throw out generalized statements and think that everybody feels the same way.
Right.
And they're really good about that. They are really good.
And there are boundaries that have to be set.
Yep. And we the first day we sit down and set ground rules. We talk about what is okay and what isn't to talk about. We talk about confidentiality and how much can we really trust that in here. So we do need to be careful how we talk, and we can't mention other people's names and do that. We need to honor other people, and I tell them that I would never let anybody talk about them in another class. And I tell them a lot about myself, which not too much, but they like that. I think they.
Well, I mean, sharing those kind of experiences, I mean, it brings you into that circle of trust kind of thing.
Yep. And it helps us. I'm just reading a book to them.
Right.
I'm telling them about some real experiences, and like when we get into childbirth and stuff, I tell them about our stories with our boys and how they came into the world, and it was both of them were wild and crazy, not textbook, and they get laughing and they think it's wild and crazy, and
then your poor wife who teaches here, she's on board with all this?
Yes.
And of course, your wife Rachel, now she teaches English?
She teaches math.
Math, okay,
yes.
Right.
She teaches math, which is really interesting.
Which my wife teaches as well.
Oh, right,
yeah.
Okay, so we got that in common. But we can't get any further away from each other in the building. I mean, the gym's there. She's about, I don't know if you can get much further away.
No, she's all the way,
So that's probably good for her, so she doesn't have to see me. But we have our toddler, our 2-year-olds in the baby room.
Right.
And so we meet there to see him during the day. But if it wasn't for him, we don't see each other very much. But we do have students that...
You share students.
We share students. So I usually have a rule that what's said in my class doesn't go there.
Don't tell my wife.
And generally that night, I'm getting scolded. Yes.
Yeah, I can
So
understand
they go right
that.
there and tell her.
That's like, don't tell her, and then it's
Yes.
right there.
They can't wait to get there. So I do have to be careful. But She knows that the childbirth stories are kind of fair game. And,
Yeah.
as long as I don't go too far and don't show any video or anything.
Oh, no, I remember ours. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have video of the actual event.
No, thank goodness. Thank goodness. Otherwise, it might have gone in with a basketball. And, yes, let's draw up this play. And there we go. So, Coach, you tell us that you went to UMPI.
Yep.
Because whenever we go up north,
Yep.
it's I was here, I was here, I was here.
Sorry about that.
No, that's all right.
I graduated from Caribou High School in '91 and went right to University of Maine in Presque Isle. Lived on campus. I had to get away from the family, I just wanted to. I think for me it was more, I wasn't the best high school student, and I knew that if I was commuting and had a job, I think I had some friends do that, and I just thought that's not going to work for me. I need to be there and commit to it.
Right.
I don't want to be, taking a break or anything like that. So I moved right into campus. I wanted to experience everything, and graduated in the winter of '95 because I stayed a little longer to get my health because I wasn't included with the phys ed back then.
Right.
So I had to go extra and get the health, most of it, and so I could actually get a teaching job. So
yeah, and from there to Sumner.
Yep, I was fortunate that summer. I actually graduated in the winter, so I moved out to Colorado with a buddy and worked at a golf course for like 5 months, and was sending in my mom was putting packets in the mail. There were a lot of jobs open that summer, and I was fortunate enough to get the one. I'd moved back in June. I had moved to Portland, and so I could interview because I thought I was going to be down there.
Yeah.
Thought I was going to be teaching K to 4, and ended up down East Maine teaching high school.
So where did you meet your wife?
Right here. We were teaching here together. So her first year, she was a new teacher, and I was just kind of helping her out. And, we kind of hit it off, and things happened, and there we go.
I'll help you with the grading, dear, right?
Well, I remember somebody, when I first started here, did something nice for me. They took a yearbook and photocopied the faculty page and gave it to me, so I knew some of the teachers' names and faces. So I kind of helped her out with that too as well.
So were all your pictures?
They were all my pictures with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you've got 2 children.
2 little boys. Yep.
Okay. And their names are?
Garrett's 4.5.
Okay, so he'll be going into kindergarten?
Yes, we just signed him up. Kindergarten screening here next month.
And he'll go to what school?
Connors Emerson.
Okay.
Yep. And Spencer is almost 2.5. He'll be 2.5 in another month or 2. And he's in the baby room here.
Yeah.
So.
It'll be tough having your older son go into kindergarten.
Yeah, it will. Yeah,
I remember because with my wife going to school, my job was to put the boys on the bus to go to school, and then I'd go to work. And I remember the first day that Craig, who's now going to be 25 in November, went to school. I mean, it was like, oh my God, I was bawling, and it was the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's. I keep telling my wife she's going to be a mess, but I'm wondering if it's going to be me.
Yeah.
And I'm a teacher, so I know that this is a good place to be, and but yet he's just so innocent, and he's such a sensitive, nice boy, and I'm just nervous that some boy's going to say something bad to him and ruin it, or something's going to happen, and. It's just, plus it's just gone by fast.
Yeah.
I looked at him the other day, and we were playing, and I just said, can you do me a favor? Can you stay 4 forever? And he said, I can't do that, Daddy.
Yeah.
And I said, why not? And he said, I just keep having birthdays. And I said,
there you go.
It's true. So.
Well, my 23-year-old, who will be 24 in July, just started on the Appalachian Trail.
I saw that. Yeah.
And I mean, it's just
amazing.
But it's harder on me than it is on him.
Yeah.
He said, well, you know, if I make it all the way, we're going to have to climb Katahdin together.
Oh, boy.
I said, yeah, I'll meet you up there in the car. It'll be great.
Good luck getting your car
yeah,
up there.
exactly. Oh, but, you know. So what's the best part about teaching here at MDI?
Oh, geez. There's so much. You know, when I came here, it wasn't long before I realized that this was my dream job. You know, everybody's looking for that, and you hear teachers say that they're looking for their dream job, and I've got it. You know, it wasn't long before I said I can be here the rest of my career. I bought a house. I wasn't worried. So, you know, what do I love most? It's hard to narrow it down. I mean, I love the people I work with.
Yeah.
My department.
But besides your wife, I mean, you know.
Yep.
But
even more so in my department, you know, Desiree Sorois, Mark Shields, Kathleen Slack. You know, we just work so well together. Our department, you know, when you have department meetings, I know your wife probably talks about them, and sometimes it's like, oh,
she's the department head now.
Oh,
and
so she, okay.
No, well, and it's kind of rotates through.
Oh, okay.
And it's her turn, and I said, now you've got to set a good example because you're the department head. And she's like, yeah, exactly.
But we look forward to meetings.
Right.
Like but we don't get to see each other as much as maybe other departments because they might have some common planning, and where we share facilities, it wouldn't make sense for us to have the same block off because then none of the facilities would be being used. So, so we don't get to spend as much time together, but we just get along so well, and we just like being around each other. And you know, I was out the last couple weeks. We had family medical issue. We had both boys were sick. So I've been out quite a bit, my wife and I, and you know, I just email them or call them, and they're just taking, and I don't worry about it.
Right.
So we're always there for each other, and so that's really good. That's really nice to have. What's
the one thing that no one knows about you that you're ready to confess now?
Well, I watched Dan Stillman's, and he said something that I thought made sense. Like I'm kind of an open book.
Yeah.
In a way.
Well, I mean, obviously you've shared so much, including childbirth with your students.
I mean, you don't get much more.
No.
But I guess something weird that a lot of people don't know, and I do mention this from time to time, but I don't mind needles, like getting like most people hate getting shots or anything, and I kind of enjoy it. I like giving blood.
Okay.
Okay, I like needles. Not that I want people to just come up and stick me. Okay, that's not
random.
Let's
folks,
not go there.
Okay.
Okay, but I like that. Not to mention giving blood is just a good feeling.
Oh yeah,
to do
good,
that.
Yeah.
But I also I've had a few surgeries, and I've tried to convince the doctors to let me watch my own surgeries.
I've done that.
So they let me watch my knee surgery, and it was too. Maybe one of the best things I've ever done in my life.
I watched an arthroscopic surgery.
Yeah.
And I remember waking up, and because I had a spinal. And
that's what I had, yeah.
So the doctor's explaining this all to me, and I'm watching it, and it's very weird to sit there and watch it because I couldn't comprehend that he was doing it to my knee.
Yeah. Yeah, the weird thing was...
You could feel it.
For me was, I
a little
could
bit
feel
the pressure.
It, but my leg that was here, I still thought was over here.
Yeah.
From where it last was when I felt it. And yeah, the pressure, you could still feel it and see what was going on, but yet I just was intrigued by that. And I think part of that's just because in getting my phys ed degree, we took a lot of science courses, and I really developed a passion for how the human body works and the musculature and skeletal system and everything. So I really wanted to see all that happen. And I remember back, I don't see it as much, but they used to show surgeries on TV a lot. One of those science channels.
Yeah, like Nova or something.
It was like every night there was a different surgery on, and I would watch all of them. And I just thought it was great. And when I needed to have my first surgery, I tried to convince them to let me watch, and they let me stay awake, but it was a finger surgery and they wouldn't let me see it.
Right. Oh, you don't
So
want
I don't know what the purpose was there of even keeping me awake. But anyway, they let me watch the knee. And then I just think that's all pretty cool.
you got to teach a phlebotomy course or something.
Yes. What's phlebotomy?
Having blood and drawing blood.
Oh,
and
is that
stuff.
what
Yeah.
that is? Okay, I didn't know that the actual term for
Yeah.
that.
You
All right.
could be teaching that, and everybody would come out. And
Yeah. I don't know if I'm certified for that.
Probably. I don't know. All right, camera's yours. What do you want to tell everybody?
Oh, geez. I just, it didn't come up, but, the reason I'm kind of where I am, I've been thinking about this a lot because, I had a friend of mine's father die that was kind of big in our life. And just kind of at the funeral seeing people from my past that kind of guided where I am now. So I've been thinking about that a lot. And, like my dad, my parents have been huge, teaching me values and everything that when I was a kid, I probably didn't get.
Right.
And they probably thought they were speaking to a wall, but it did work. And then, people in my youth sports programs and my first phys ed teacher, Tom Folsom, back at Hilltop Elementary. I think I was in 3rd grade, and I came home and told my parents I was going to be a phys ed teacher because I wanted to be
cool.
like that
Yeah.
guy. And, most kids, you say, and it changes, but I got into middle school, and it was another phys ed teacher, and it was another coach, and it got into high school, and it was Dwight Hunter, and it was
Caribou,
Jeff
yeah.
Holmes, and it was all these people that were just great people. And the rec department, Kathy Mazzucchelli ran a great rec department up there, and Jim Susi ran the sports programs. He had young coaches in there that really understood the right way to coach kids and really inspired us. And Bob White running the Caribou Little League up there, tireless hours just doing everything so that kids could have a positive place and teach kids the right ways to do things. All those people, kind of are the reason I'm doing what I'm doing.
Well, and you've obviously had an effect on people. I mean, when you look at people like Adam Gray, who's now coaching and refereeing, and the McKims, the McKim boys, and I know there are others that are involved that have come through your classes. And I mean, it's nice to be able to have that effect on kids and be able to see them go and be happy when they come back and share in their growth and in their success.
Yeah, it's a powerful thing when you hear back with stuff like that, and sometimes we forget to thank people, and
Yeah.
it's kind of what I wanted to. Hopefully they see this, and they did. Everybody has a little piece in this, and it's pretty cool. It's something that I'm proud of, and at this age you can look back easier and see those things happen.
Right.
And it's pretty powerful.
Cool.
It's pretty cool.
All right, that's this week, Meet the MDI Teacher with Matt Umphrey. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and check out all the other videos we have on the WDEA YouTube channel.